Hey guys, wanted to showcase my IPEXIQ XER reader. As you all know, we deal with Primavera P6 a lot, and sharing information is a little hard. We can produce PDFs, send them across for markup through various people. We can have people sit next to us while we drive the software, and we can exchange XER files with other Primavera users. But as we all know, the XER files are very useful to allow other people to read our files in interesting ways. I've seen a lot of people do it in Excel. One of my best mates, Mims, got his XER Reader Excel file. I've used that forever and take a lot of inspiration for this from his file. So let's just dive into how I've implemented it, because I've added a little, some database tricks, some web tricks that make it a little extra features. So here we go. This is obviously my IPEXIQ website. Okay, great. Now we're logged in. Now I can go to the support page, and I'm going to click our XER reader. This is just a guide to do a quick showcase. I'm going to jump into the app in just a minute, but quick scroll through to see what we're working with. And what you've got is you've got the ability to import files, and you can import files as a working, a baseline, or an issued file that you want to restore for historical records and keep track against. And this is something that most Excel files can't. So you can actually import all your schedules, and you can have a working one that you can keep updating. When you update, or when you click on one of these XER files and view it, you have the ability to map in a baseline schedule to do variance analysis on, as well as an issued schedule. And you can only do one, but you can load a whole bunch of issued schedules in there, and you can just click the drop down. It'll let you link to that specific one. One of the nice views is when you can actually go to an activity, you can trace the logic. And this is like really cool. I'm gonna do this live, where you can see all the predecessors, all the successors of an activity, and visually see how they relate. Because a lot of times we actually have pretty bad logic where just over a course of a job, we just keep adding things. And too often we don't delete or update our logic, and we end up with bad logic and schedule. But because no one's actually reviewing it or looking at it in a view like this, well, no one really has an incentive to change it. And then also having the analysis of when you have an XER imported, you can tag that XER as being a baseline. When you do that, you can then get some analysis of looking at what are my current finish dates and what are the baseline dates and what's the variance. Very handy view to get quick analysis to see what's changed between your current and your baseline. And similarly, you can do this exact same analysis with that issued. That's why you can have two, and you can update them as you need. So given all that, let's go to our XER projects and go see an example live. Geez, I'm just zoomed in. There we go. So one of the interesting things is that you don't really import an XER by itself. You have to create what I call a group. And the group is your whole project. And so imagine that being your like high-level EPS node in Primavera. That would be your group. And then inside that would be all your schedules. And you'd have baselines in there, working schedules, issued schedules, various ones. So this tries to capture that fact that you have a group, and inside that group have schedules. So let's just click on it and see. The default view shows you only the working schedules, because those should be the only ones that you're clicking on. The other ones are static. Now, not that you might change them, but they should be static. I've got a little toggle that allows you to see all the XERs you've imported. And here you can actually see I've got one imported that is I've tagged myself as being issued, and I've got one that's tagged as being baseline. You can change this at any time. You can take any schedule and change the status. You just click on a schedule. There'll be an edit project screen, edit project, and I can go change whether or not it's a working baseline or issued. Really cool feature to use. And once you've done that, once you've tagged a schedule as a baseline schedule, then you can attach that, or you can not attach it, more of like linking it to your current schedule. Let's go open the schedule, see what we're looking at. And there's a lot in here. Some quick information metrics that you'd sort of expect. Now, I don't go into all the 14-point properties. I'm not doing any fuse scores. I'm not actually having a position of what's good or not. I'm just trying to present some information related to your XER. And inside that, it's just number of activities, what the status, and some relationships. If you have how many activities you've got, and how many have predecessors, how many have successors, and you can even go into a relationship check tab. Not really what I want to go into this, but you can check, have fun. We also have some comments where you can see, this is one of the nice features, is you can actually apply comments directly through the website, and those remain, well, you can update the comments, but they're more like tags that exist in the group. And if you actually delete the XER, the comments stay, because the comments are related to, again, the project as a whole. And if you get a new XER next week or next month, you still want to see the comments that you had applied. Similarly, you should be able to take comments of saying, I've made an action, I've actioned them. So all comments have a status code of being open or closed. And you can toggle it to say, well, show me just the open ones, because those would mean that I've not made an action on. It's a really nice feature that I think we should be putting into our workflows to give people the ability to comment on our schedules. There's an activity density view, this thing down here. So it takes the whole schedule, and you could actually, this works for thousands of activities. It compresses the whole thing. There's just a small width, no matter how big your schedule is, it's going to fit within this frame size on the screen. And it's not something you can make bigger. It's not something where you're going to go hover over and see something. It's just a visual representation of what does your schedule look like. And I've not really seen this before. I kind of like it, and I'm going to keep it. The Activities tab is a tree view based upon your WBS structure. A lot of information you'd expect to see, where you've got your WBS structure, and then you can see your activities, what % complete am I, start date, finish dates, is it a milestone, is it a task, and the comments. So this is where you can actually have comments on schedules, and you can click one and look at it. We'll get to that one in a second. When you do click on an activity, it takes you to an activity screen. This is where you see the logic. And this is the really powerful feature right here, where you can see this is the activity I'm on, this is the predecessor, this is a nice finish start logic, and here's my successor, nice finish start logic, all good, looks great. But as we all know, not all schedules and activities look like that. And when things happen, that's where maybe you do want to put a comment of why you might have not used the logic that you had in the schedule. Sometimes we have retained logic that pushes things out, and maybe it shouldn't be doing that, and it happens automatically. But you could put a comment in there for someone to say, remove that retained logic that might be a finished start that's pushing the remaining start date out, and you're actually working on something, and say, no, the remaining duration is only going to be 5 days, not 5 months when the other one's going to finish. So nice features in there that shows you what it's at, and that common ability to communicate back and forth, because all your engineers can open this. You can share it with your whole team, and they can come in and say, I want to put some comments on it. Here we go, add a comment. Change successor to be something else, anything. Anytime you add a comment, it immediately creates it as an open. You can then click this little toggle, or anybody, if they think that's correct, they can go close the comment. And then you can also hit a reply in there saying, closed by me. So nice little nice little feature in there to show some back and forth, because this is sometimes what we miss is you need someone sitting next to you to get the feedback and provide the action, or you need that import export of an Excel file, or you need the PDF markup that might not make sense. And this is a nice way that works. Let's go close our comments. What else we got in here? I'm gonna go back to the project. You can click on comments, and then this is now taking that tree view, but now filtering it for every activity or only the activities you put comments on. So again, a nice feature that allows you to specifically drill down into a specific activity. You click it and you can see some comment there. You can see if it's open, it's closed. Yeah, really cool. I've not seen this anywhere, let alone a free 2-bit app that anybody can use pretty easily. The baseline in issue, this is where you see your variance analysis. So here, when I don't need to expand everything out, but now you're actually seeing the baseline start, baseline finish, as well as the variance. If you click issued, it's the exact same view, but instead of using what you've tagged as being the baseline, it's now using what you've tagged as being the issued schedule. And again, you can change those. Now, it's not a user preference, so it's not like P6 where you have a user baseline, something like that. No, this is a property of this. We call this the XER, and it has a property of a baseline and issued, but you can change them. Resources, nice quick view to go again by WBS. What percent complete are you? A couple metrics on the budget units, earned units. This is using the target and actual. So sometimes if you're actually feeding actual units into the schedule, which your percent completes might not work right, but everybody manages in their own way. This uses the budget on an activity and the actual on the activity, and treating that actual as the earned value to calculate a percent complete to the bottom line, or for each one of these groups. The relationship check, I guess I will click that tab. Here we go. It actually tells you, oh, I've got some issues. It's actually filtering on activities that don't have a predecessor or don't have a successor, or both. And so here's an example. We're saying, well, that activity has no predecessor. That one has no successor. That is a really quick, easy check to do a quick filter on everything. And then a variance report. Now, the interesting thing about the variance report is at any time you can say generate a variance report. You want to do this from your issued schedule. So if I went back to that issued tab, the issued tab does have a generate variance report, and it'll actually give you a structured web page. You could actually copy and paste this into a Word file. It works pretty good. And it'll tell you everything you'd expect to see. It's going to do changes in your progress. If you've had any changes to milestones, now milestones, you might have 1,000 milestones in your schedule. This variance report is very specific because it's actually picking WBS nodes where you've keyed in milestone in the description. Because typically we'd have the top of the schedule and we'll have a separate section that says major milestones or something like that. It's pretty common practice around the world. If you've done that, then you will see a tabular view of all the milestones right here, as well as changes in dates from that issued schedule. Date variances, it'll show everything that's finished between the schedules. This is grouped by a major WBS element of how you've built the schedule, so it reads pretty good. Shouldn't be that big, but sometimes they are, and it'll show every variance in your schedule. I think that's it, yeah. All right. Last thing, export to Excel. There's a export to Excel button. I don't want to run this, but if you do, it'll open up, it'll download an Excel file to your computer. It's not formatted, it's just a data Excel file, but it has 4 tabs on it where it shows a download of all the activities, as a tab for all the predecessors, all the successors, and I'm not sure what else. Maybe there's one with the resources. I'm not sure, but there's 4. And a lot of times people ask for a download of all the successors on an activity. And Primavera, you can have reports that are set up that way. You could do an export of the relationships, but there's a lot of back and forth of formatting Excel files. I actually find this Excel file that's going to generate for you, it's pretty functional right out of the box. The 4th tab, it's not resources. It's actually a Gantt chart, but because it doesn't really have formatting, it's just putting X's on the weeks where an activity would be. You could then go insert a conditional formatting if it sees an X to highlight it a certain color. So nice little feature there, and easy, free, right out of the box. Sort of going back to the beginning, this is something that I think is a long journey for all of us, and it's primarily trying to get us out of the Excel world into a collaborative web-based environment that we can work with our Primavera files, not doing Primavera actions that you're going to do inside the application, but doing the management communication of what's in your schedule and providing people a consistent format that they know that they're going to get. Too often, again, we do these PDFs and everybody wants to see, oh, I want to see a view with this, I want to see a view with that. Oh, why doesn't it look this way? Oh, Joe wanted to see it that way. Somebody else wanted to see another way. PDF views, I don't think offer very much value to anybody. Trying to standardize PDF views is don't go there. You'll never get a standard view of a Primavera from a layout view that you want to create a PDF on. Deal with data. I'm a data guy. I think that we should be smart with how we manage our data, and this is exactly a smart way to manage and communicate the data that's inside your Excel file, put it in a collaborative environment so everybody can use it. So yeah, hope everybody likes that. And it's all within the suite of my IPEXIQ website. To get all these features, you do have to sign in. It is a free sign-in. There is a free XER reader. I can actually go to products, and there's a free XER reader that allows you to just import an XER by itself. You can have all the other nice features in there, but you can do the import-export to Excel. You can see the tree view. You can see the activity logic relationships to go trace all the logic. So yeah, definitely recommend if you want just a quick view of what an XER reader might look at in a web-based environment, take the free one, click, it all works. So yeah, definitely thanks a lot. And again, shout out to one of my best mates, Bim, for giving me some inspiration for this, over 10 years ago. And thanks a lot, guys. See ya.